This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you!
Boring. Boring. Boring.
Okay, you got it. Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that. Remember what you're doing. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
I call again for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, the return of the sausages, the hostages.
Welcome to another edition of Lembit Öpik Live here on Unprecedented TV, where we find the facts, kill the spin, and tell it like it is as best we can. We do share our opinions, but we don't mix them up with facts. And we leave you to make your judgments about what you see here on our shows. Thanks very much indeed. Also, if you have subscribed, please go to Unprecedented TV on YouTube and subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything right now, and you massively help us building the brand. We've got an entire US division to set up at the moment by popular demand, and that will absolutely turbocharge the variety, the current affairs, and hopefully the entertainment that you get from our station. But for now, something which may not be so funny for Keir Starmer. He seems to be on his last political legs, even as we record this. If you're watching it live, the Labour Party conference is in full swing. If you're watching it in the archive, you can compare what we say here with the reality. But many commentators are now saying that Keir Starmer is the most unpopular prime minister in the history of the United Kingdom. I kid you not. That's apparently what they're saying. And they're arguing that his problems are multi-faceted, largely because of his own making. There's an argument that says that really Keir Starmer gets out of a car and everybody else goes the other way. Here he is looking, I don't know, pensive, I suppose. It's easy to find photographs like this all over the place. But Keir Starmer does not even seem to enjoy the support of his own party now. It's almost as if they've said, we're going to have to get a lot better than that if we're not going to be absolutely trounced in the local elections in May 2026, which is the next huge round. Thousands of seats up for grabs. Reform UK on target to win a huge amount of them. So what is the future for Keir Starmer? And whatever happened to his coalition of the willing? This was meant to trounce the Russian army in Ukraine in order to help his big buddy, Volodymyr Zelensky. Yes, it seems that Keir Starmer has quite a lot of trouble with Ukrainians. We'll leave that there for now. Well, who can we talk to? Who can we talk to get a better insight into what's actually going on? None other than great friend of the Unprecedented TV team. That is Warren Thornton, investigative journalist. Warren, very good to see you. I've been warned that you've been in stormy conditions, so the picture might not be great, but as long as it sounds okay, we'll struggle on. You've been in a big storm.
Yeah, we have. We've had back-to-back typhoons. We've had a super typhoon and then a tropical storm coming right on the back of it. So it's not been ideal, but we're still up and working. That's
the price you pay for living in the beautiful Philippines. I take it you don't regret moving?
None at all.
Okay, that's good. Well, as I say, apologies to the viewers. The picture may not be brilliant, but his views will be absolutely fine. So let's set the context here. It seems to us here at Unprecedented TV that Keir Starmer's in quite a lot of bother. A lot of people almost reading the last rites for his political career. He himself has been quite critical of the obvious only game in town at the moment, and that's Reform UK. But Starmer can't seem to help himself. He goes on and on and on about how the enemy is reform. And he literally used the word enemy. And let's start with this, Warren. Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, has made it absolutely clear that he is gunning for the Reform UK vote. But he then started saying this enemy word. If I said, Warren, the enemy is a particular ethnic group or the enemy is a particular sexual orientation, I'd be arrested because under Starmer's regime, that kind of thought crime isn't allowed. Should he be arrested for calling Reform UK the enemy?
It should be if it's under the hate speech laws, because let's face it, nobody's full of more hatred than Keir Starmer. He's able to march around the place saying all sorts of things about everybody else, but the moment anybody says anything about him, he uses the police to quieten them down. There's no doubt in my mind that he is, how can I put this? He is a dictator beyond all belief. You've only got to see what the police are doing at the moment, you know, where they're arresting anybody for anything whatsoever. In fact, there's double the amount of hate speech arrests in the UK as there is anywhere else on the planet. And of course, we've just had George Galloway just arrested as he stepped off the plane.
Well, we'll come to that Galloway thing in just a minute. Tell us what you mean by those statistics. I'm very interested in this.
Yes, well, over the last few months, they've had over, I think it's 12,366 incidents of hate speech where the police have been, reported or reportedly, these have been logged as police incidents. And the highest anywhere else in the world is 6,500.
Where was that?
That was, would you believe it or not, in France. And then Germany is next.
All the progressive free speech countries. That's interesting. What about China? Doesn't China beat the United Kingdom? It must have more than 12,000. It's got 20 times the UK population.
China are actually down in 37th place.
What's the number? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was 417.
417.
Yes, and North Korea.
I thought it'd be more than that. I heard it was 1,500.
Yeah, North Korea, Lembit, was 277.
Well, I'll check those figures. I still think you might be slightly wrong with that figure for China, but frankly, it would have to be 20 times more just to match the UK. They'd have to have 240,000 arrests to match Britain. That's just ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. Perhaps it's the British Secret Service is blocking your signal at the moment. Something's wrong with the picture, but not with your thoughts. So let's get this straight then. The country that's meant to be defending free speech goes all over the world to liberate people, doesn't give you the same, if you measure it according to arrests, as China.
Yeah, absolutely. The nonsense that goes on with this free speech of supposedly Starmer, a defender of free speech, and let's face it, Trump pulled him up about it. Vance has pulled up the UK about it. We are not defenders of free speech. We are far from it. And in fact, we jail more people for speech problems or supposedly speech problems than any other country in the world.
That's just incredible. It's actually quite depressing, to be honest, Warren.
Yep.
Very depressing. I wonder, how did we get here? How did this happen?
Well, it's like anything. It sort of sneaks up on you bit by bit. Every time something has happened, Starmer has introduced something to crack down more on those laws. We had, didn't we? We had, homophobia, transphobia, Islamophobia, and each time he nudged the dial further along. And we had, of course, that ridiculous Online Safety Act, which is nothing to do with children. 40-page document mentions children once.
So, yes, the Online Safety Act seemed like a pernicious attempt to limit free speech.
Exactly that.
All right, so there he is, moaning away about his nemesis, really, Nigel Farage, and this language that we hear all the time. Oh, that Nigel Farage is the enemy, reform is the enemy. I actually think that's inappropriate language. Politics is a competition, not a war.
Yes, absolutely. And let's face it, this is just being used to really get rid of political opponents. This is nothing short of what happened in Germany in the 1930s. First of all, you're trying to put journalists in jail, and then you're trying to get rid of your political opponents. Tell me how this is any different to what a certain gentleman in Germany did in the 1930s.
Yeah, well, it's a very dramatic analogy. Here we see him turning up at this party conference. They're all applauding. Oh, look at all the British flags. Yeah, this is an interesting thing. What's happened now is since Nigel Farage has more or less reclaimed Britishness for Reform UK, they're all waving their British flags. Ed Davey in the Liberal Democrats, he's leader of the rather faltering Lib Dems. I don't see what they really stand for anymore. He has now got them all waving their British flags as well. But it's ridiculous because if Ed Davey and the Liberal Democrats became the government, they wouldn't protect our border. They'd dissolve it. They'd let people come in. They want to be in Schengen, which for those who are interested means you have free movement of travel. If you get into France, you can get into Britain. No one will check your papers. So they're out of it. The Tories are obviously busted flush now. But here we have all this Britishness coming out of Keir Starmer. Does anyone really believe it?
Yeah, absolutely. It is complete nonsense. Starmer's always been a globalist. He's never been for the people of Britain. And in fact, almost everything that he does is centered either around Ukraine or around international affairs. The idea that he actually cares about the people of Britain is quite crazy. And you're quite right about trying to reclaim the flag because, of course, he has to try and do something because he is now with the most unpopular Prime Minister of all time. He's got a negative 66 rating.
More unpopular than Boris Johnson at his worst, than Margaret Thatcher at her worst, and Liz Truss. Here he is in this picture with a problem he's got. Andy Burnham, who I actually personally really like. We have a regular guest, Nick Buckley, who stood against him. Nick Buckley, MBE, he's not so keen on Andy Burnham. But Andy Burnham, standing there with Keir Starmer, is quite obviously launching a leadership election campaign against Keir Starmer. When a majority of your own membership, I'm told, is against you carrying on as Prime Minister, you've got a big problem, haven't you?
Yes, you have. I mean, Burnham's got a problem himself because he's got to get elected an MP first. But he can back other people to be a leader. But Keir Starmer, 53% of his own Labour Party want him removed. Now, that's not just the MPs. That's, if you like, the Labour intelligentsia, all the ones who vote. And there's 53% of them want him removed. 33% want him to stay. And 16% don't know. I mean, what is there to don't know? That the guy is leading Labour into the abyss. And as the great Dorothy Parker once said, they've literally reached rock bottom and are showing signs of beginning to dig.
Yeah, well, I have to say, when you've got Andy Burnham, who I think is a fairly capable man, he's shown reasonable good sense in the past. When he is more or less saying, it's a really strange thing. He says, it's not up to me, it's up to the party. But whenever you've got people like Andy Burnham, who used to be reasonably chummy with Keir Starmer saying this, that really begins to undermine Starmer's residual credibility and authority. Why do you think Andy Burnham's doing it now?
I think it's because he sees where the Labour Party is going to be. And of course, they are where the Conservatives are, really. There is no chance, absolutely zero chance, unless there's some sort of mass election for, of them getting back in again. And they are desperately trying to say, remember this, you know this better than anybody, Lembit, there is no loyalty in politics whatsoever. And if it looks like all these MPs, the majority of them are going to lose their seats and the spoon's not going to be in the gravy, they'll turn on you quicker than you can say much.
Yeah, there's not much loyalty in British politics, I have to say. My view is that he's not going to make it after May next year. Why? May is the next round of local elections, and it's a biggie. A lot at stake there. And if he loses another 500-700 seats to Reform UK, that'll really propel Reform into a really good position to win the next election, which everybody now thinks they are going to win, I think. Just tell me this, though, Warren. Why do you think he's so obsessed with talking about Reform UK when actually he hasn't got a chance of getting votes from Reform, really, because they stand for almost the opposite thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But the problem that we have, isn't it, and you'll bear me out on this, Lembit, is he has lied to the British people for so long over so many things that he's not going to be able to swing those votes in his favour. Now, I'm not saying that Farage is the greatest thing since sliced bread, but he's certainly going to be a mile ahead of anything that Keir Starmer comes out with. I mean, Starmer's done everything to everybody, hasn't he? He's done the free speech. He's locked people up for waving an England flag. He's putting political opponents, he's having them arrested at airports. He is having people thrown in jail for 31 months for a tweet that was obviously made under, extreme stress. And then, of course, you're going to get the problem, aren't you, that he doesn't put away people that say the same things in his own party. So he's going to be deeply unpopular. And of course, this is all being borne out. I mean, he is a dead man walking. It's whether the Labour Party go down with him.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of the coverage I've observed from the conference is about whether they think Keir Starmer should carry on. Once you get that kind of dialogue, distracting your entire party, at that point, you've become the story in such a negative way, it's impossible to recover. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. I agree with you, by the way. When you actually listen to these interviews, and it's worth going back into the internet and having a look at it in your own time. But when you look at these people, this John McDonnell, who's no great friend of Keir Starmer's, they're just basically saying, well, he's finished. They say it in different ways. Oh, he won a great election victory in 2024. No, he didn't. He got a third of the vote. 2/3 of the public voted against him. The ones who bothered to vote. He actually got 1 in 5 of the electorate voting for them. And we've got, there's the man. Can we just have a look at that? There we are. There's the dream team. We've got Keir Starmer and David Lammy looking confused as usual. The Deputy Prime Minister. I mean, how did that happen?
It's because David Lammy happens to, shall we say, attend Bilderberg meetings. Don't be surprised to see West Streeting as the new leader of the Labour Party. David Lammy and West Streeting have both been to Bilderbergs. They're globalists. Starmer's a dead man walking. He's going to get a nice cushy job somewhere. He's done the job he's supposed to do, which, of course, is ruining Great Britain for the globalists and the people who want everybody to, you're not allowed to have the UK anymore. It's part of a greater project. And that's exactly where Starmer has taken us.
Yeah, it's a desperate situation, really, to be honest with you. I wonder if actually, really the problem we have now with Labour is that they're completely paralysed as a party. This idea about ID cards, I was tweeting in it. Follow me on X, everyone, at Lembit Öpik, by the way, follow me on X. It's just created a rage. It's like Keir Starmer's poll tax. Thatcher was brought down by poll tax, a hated community charge. And I think Starmer's going to be brought down by ID cards because they absolutely don't make any sense whatever in terms of trying to stop people coming into this country because they're just going to take the chances, aren't they? They're not going to be that worried about it. Just before we go any further, though, I have to remind you, we have a superb investigative reporter, Claire Dyer, who does Dire Consequences. She is really taking the world by storm. I thank the tens of thousands of you who are now watching and communicating with her, and actually hundreds of thousands in some cases. If you haven't watched any of Claire Dyer's shows, you really got to. She is so impressive. What's this? Yeah, well, there we are. That is a great program. It's called Dire Consequences, and we're doing our best to support Claire with extra resources because she is doing such a great job of analysing very uncomfortable home truths, and you'll find that in the archive on YouTube, Unprecedented TV, and obviously on X as well. Let's return to Warren. Warren, I have to tell you your picture. Oh, you moved. You moved a bit. Your picture's truly dreadful, but we carry on because your sound is good. Just in the second part of the program, I want to talk about something which is AWOL. What do you think I'm talking about, Warren?
Sorry, say that again.
Yeah, I'm now going to challenge you to guess what I'm talking about when I say something of Keir Starmer's which has gone AWOL, absent without leave. What do you think I'm referring to?
Oh, no. Can't get it.
The Coalition of the Willing. Whatever happened to the Coalition of the Willing?
Yes.
This is his attempt to lead Europe in fighting the good fight for his big buddy Volodymyr Zelensky, an ever less attractive photo opportunity. And if you recall, the Coalition of the Willing was all about, as far as I remember, the idea that somehow Keir Starmer would be a war leader. He's got that one out of the Margaret Thatcher book, I think, Falklands. And he was going to lead this coalition. Let's have a look at that coalition again. Lead it to victory against Russia. Now, Warren, you're a bit of a military expert. How feasible is this? And why don't we hear anything about it anymore?
It's not going to happen. It was never going to happen. We said time and time again that this won't happen. What will happen is Moldova will try to open a second front once Sandu wins what some are calling a very strange election. The problem that they have, of course, is none of them want to commit their own soldiers in there because they know that they will get absolutely slaughtered. But they're quite happy to either send Moldova, Lithuania, Sweden, Finland, any of those. If we can't get the Baltic states to go in, we'll try and get the Scandinavian states to go in. And of course, Sandu is the perfect puppet. She's willing to commit.
Tell us who she is. Remind us who she is.
Sandu is the current incumbent of Moldova, in charge of Moldova, the current president of Moldova. But we have a major problem with her because the diasporas, or the people outside of Moldova, they vote for Sandu, but nobody inside Moldova votes for her. So, of course, she's deeply unpopular. And the only reason she's winning is the simple fact that everybody considers that the last election was fixed and that this one's going to be even more fixed to make sure she stays in power.
That's a big statement. Can you back that up?
I certainly can, yeah. There's been all sorts of voting problems going on. People in Transnistria have not been allowed to come across bridges. They've shut bridges off for roadworks. There's only 2 polling stations. There's many Moldovans that live outside in Russia. There's only 2 polling stations that have opened up, and they're both in Moscow. As I say, there are roadworks that are stopping people going in. There are bus checks that are stopping people going in. All the roads from Transnistria are being slowed down so that hardly anybody can get to vote. There's a lack of polling stations. There's been bomb threats at supposedly 10 of these polling stations where, shall we say, the numbers are not very much in Sandu's favour. And, of course, she's turned around and said, we may have to annul the election if the right result doesn't come out.
Ridiculous. Well, meanwhile, if you've just joined us, by the way, thank you for your patience with Warren Thornton's picture. He's in the middle of a tropical storm in the Philippines. So this is what you get when you have a truly global reach. But here's a picture of the 3 amigos. You've got Volodymyr Zelensky with his massive corruption problems as well. Oftentimes I'm hearing people say that the situation in Ukraine lends itself to making it the arms black market of the world. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is a major problem in it. Many of these weapons have ended up in Israel. Many of these weapons have ended up, there is an absolute glut of weapons now that have been sold to drug gangs in Spain. So, of course, this is a major problem. And then it is estimated that 30% of the arms that have been sent to Ukraine have been siphoned off, would be the nice term.
Ridiculous. Which would suggest that they're not 100% committed to winning the war.
No, they're not. They're committed to feathering their own nest. All the politicians that are in Ukraine, none of their children are on the front line or have been on the front line fighting. They're all in other countries, perfectly safe. And then, of course, if you have the money, if you are rich enough, you can buy yourself out of conscription. So it is, as corruption goes, for me, it's right up there with the very best in the world.
And then you've got Emmanuel Macron there, who seems to spend most of his time trying to prove that Mrs. Macron's a woman.
Yeah, it does seem a strange one, doesn't it? I mean, it's a very, very simple thing. If you look at the human pelvis, the woman's pelvis is completely different to a man's. Very, very simply, take Candace Owens with you. Go and have literally an X-ray of her pelvis. She doesn't even need to get undressed for it, and you can put that up on the internet, and then everybody will know. It's very odd that they're going to produce photographic evidence many, many months after this was there. I mean, you would think Macron would be getting on with running the country, wouldn't he?
Well, he's running the country down as far as I can see at the moment. My opinion, if you're French and you're watching and you have a different view, that's fine. At some point, I'm coming to France to interview a couple of politicians there. But here we have Macron next to two people who are losers. Zelensky's losing the war in his own country. Macron's losing prime ministers like there's no tomorrow. So this isn't going to help his campaign to look like a big shot.
No, absolutely. I mean, remember that they've already blocked Marine Le Pen from running, saying that she's done something criminally wrong. And this is happening in many countries. They did the same thing in Romania. These people are terrified of losing their grip on power. Macron just keeps putting guys in one after the other who are just getting overthrown by the French people. Le Pen and her supporters, even the hard left, don't like Macron. What people are calling the right and the left don't like Macron. So he's literally just trying to hold on for another year. Then what they'll do is they'll shuffle Ursula von der Leyen out of the European Union to become the Prime Minister of Germany. And then very simply what will happen is Macron will take over the European Union.
Okay, well, see if you're right or not. If you're watching in the archive, you can find out. Let's hope that the link holds long enough, despite your force 10 storm. How high does the wind get, by the way, where you are with these tropical storms?
185 miles an hour.
Well, I'm pretty impressed with talking at all in that case. How much rain do you get? How many inches or centimeters of rainfall during these things?
Well, let's put it this way. The last time we had a super typhoon in Manila, you had the water was 10 feet high.
That's incredible. Well, I'm grateful for small mercies then, because it sounds okay. I do want to finish off by talking about that war in Ukraine, though. It seems to not be going brilliantly for Macron and Starmer supporting Zelensky. How's this going to end up? And you've been pretty accurate before in terms of your guesstimate in terms of timings. How long is this going to carry on?
Oh, by my estimates, they're losing around about 1,600 men a day. So when you work that out, at the 1st of January, they had around 900,000 men left. By August of next year, they will have less than, if it carries on at the rate that I think it's going to. It may collapse quicker than that. But they'll have around about 200 to 300,000 men left. And they will be unable to defend anything except Kiev. So it won't happen. Everybody thinks it's going to happen, sort of incrementally, but it's not. There will come a critical mass point where they can no longer hold off the Russians, and everything will collapse fairly quickly. But we're not quite at that point yet, but we're getting there.
And is Trump getting on better with Zelensky now? Is that just window dressing, do you think?
There's absolute window dressing. Trump wants out of Ukraine. They have other fish to fry. Trump has literally dared them by turning around and saying, well, you keep telling me that Europe, that Ukraine are winning this war, so why the hell do they need my help? And literally Trump's played a blinder here because he turned around and said, Europe have got this. I mean, they're only fighting with washing machines and shovels. How hard can it be? I've got every confidence in Zelensky to take back all the turf, even the turf at the moment that the Russians have been sitting on for the last 2 years.
He doesn't mean it, though, does he?
No, of course he doesn't. It's his way of going, I'm out of here. You're on your own. And he's left Europe holding the baby. And, of course, Zelensky is incapable of changing its nappy.
Yes, Zelensky hasn't exactly done a great job. He dressed a bit better this time, as we see in the picture there. You were completely right. I was completely wrong when I said, rather naively, that the war would be over in 24 hours. Why? Because I believed Donald Trump. I'm going to end that war in 24 hours. Well, I was out by 8 months at least. Do you think that, are you willing to make a prediction? I won't gainsay you this time. When do you think it'll be over?
Well, militarily, it will be over 2026 August. That's when I predict that the Ukrainians will be so short of men that they will have to sue for peace, regardless of how bad that peace is. And the peace is just going to get worse and worse and worse. And, they're saying, oh, we're not going to give up territory. We're just going to end up giving more and more territory because it's only going one way and it's only going to get, it's not going to get any better, Lembit.
Yeah, it does feel to me that really they're on a losing wicket, which brings us back to where we started, really. I mean, Trump and his people, if you're right, are trying to get out of it. Meanwhile, we've got Macron and Zelensky sitting next to Starmer, and all three of them are doing a terrible job. Is there any way back for Starmer?
No, none at all, because what they're going to do is the EU are going to get mulled over to send troops in. Sandu has already said if she wins the election, she'll put 700 troops in at a time. And of course, they haven't got a massive army, but of course, it does open a second front. Now, Starmer is right behind this, and he's right behind backing literally Ukraine. He signed that deal for 100 years. They're going to give Ukraine 3.5 billion. I think that's how long Starmer thinks the war's going to go on for. But once again, he's completely delusional.
It's completely ridiculous. It really is. I think basically Starmer's company, namely Zelensky and Macron, indicates where his career is going, which is down the pan. Go on. It's
always the way, though, Lembit. If you look at the amount of European leaders who have gone and shaken Zelensky's hand and are no longer in charge of the countries they once were in charge of.
Yeah, it's a grim business for Starmer. But the biggest problem we've got by an absolute country mile, is the fact that he's now still trying to push ID cards on the country. Incredibly unpopular, as far as I can see. I can't see how it can do any good. But that's for another time. Shall I go on?
Yeah, I was going to say, I would rail against this. I would just turn around to people and say that COVID lasted for 2 years, the lockdown, and how bad that was. This is a more permanent lockdown if you allow ID cards to take part. It is not going to stop boats coming over Lembit. There are people in the channel that are coming across being told by NGOs to ditch their ID. Now, when they get here, what do you think happens? Do we go, you haven't got an ID card, you've got to go home? Of course we don't. We give them an ID card. Anybody thinking this is going to stop immigration is absolutely delusional.
It's ridiculous, and I'm with you on that completely. Well, Warren, we made it to the end there. Thank you very much for sticking with it. The picture's been rubbish, but so's the weather, as far as I understand it. Where can people get more of Warren Thornton?
Well, Monday to Friday, of course, we have a show that goes from 6 p.m. 8 to 8 p.m. British Summer Time, or BST. And of course, on Sunday nights, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. with the wonderful Lembit Öpik from Unprecedented TV.
Well, it's good of you to say those kind things about me. You know, I enjoy doing it. I love doing it. Actually, it's a great thing to be on the television with you and talking about these important things. Well, Warren, thank you so much, and thank you for sticking with it. It's a very interesting thing that we can be so far apart in distance terms. He's in the middle of a tropical storm on the tail end of it, as far as I know. And meanwhile, I am actually sitting far, far away. It sounds like I'm in a galaxy. It's so far, far away, but I don't mean that at all. And the bottom line here is that, as far as I'm concerned, Starmer's got a huge problem, and I don't know how he's going to fix that. I literally have no idea. But we shall see. And if you're watching it in the archive, you can see how accurate we were. Don't forget all the other shows. If you like it, please subscribe. Go to Unprecedented TV YouTube. Please, 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 please do that. It'll be absolutely fantastic. Helps us. Doesn't cost you anything for now. And it means that we can expand our operations. And remember, we've got that huge, big US division getting going as well. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Do repost it and spread the word. I love it when you do that. And do that subscription as well. I'm Lembit Öpik. That was Lembit Öpik Live with Warren Thornton in the middle of a storm. Not maybe as big a storm as Starmer's facing. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you soon.
Immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The return of the sausages.